The strongest in all creation. That was the goal of Shen, a fighting fanatic who due to tragedy had his quest for strength warped into one of revenge, but then due to the support and love of his friends came to understand the true meaning of strength, and so of course that's what we shall explore today. So if you find yourself entertained at any point during the video, then consider liking, subscribing and ringing that bell. Anyway, on with the video. Shen, as we know, is the second seat of the round table, and by far one of its strongest members. His name Shen is a reference to the Japanese word for truth, Shinjitsu, fitting with the trend of all Undead Unluck characters having their names reference their abilities. Now story wise for Shen, I think it's best we first touch on his introduction to the series, and then circle back to his backstory. Now our first introduction to Shen comes in chapter 2, where he and Void are tasked with the capture of Andy and the execution of Fuko, popping up right behind Fuko and preventing her from running to Andy's side. This of course being, due to his negator ability, Untruth, a power that negates the thoughts and will of his target, making them do the opposite of what they want to do. However, besides doing that, he doesn't really do much else. Now this in hindsight makes a lot of sense. Shen desires to fight the strong, and Fuko, well, at this point in the story, is not that strong. And Andy, although formidable enough, is not someone Shen wants to fight, because as we see in the spoil arc, his interest in Andy comes from his potential to unlock Victor. Shen allowing Void to die for Andy and Fuko to become members also says a lot about his character. In number 1 shows his conviction to fighting the strong, allowing even a teammate to die, to up his chances of fighting Victor, but may also show his compassion for good people. As well in Loot 100 at least, Void does not seem all that nice a guy, happy to kill Fuko even outside of a quest because it was ordered to, whereas Shen chose not to do this because due to his ability, he has quite a keen eye for the truth of people. The fact his ability stopped Fuko from running into Void's range must have been pretty clear to him that she truly was a good person who wanted to save Andy even despite her weakness. And well, fighting stronger enemies than you even in spite of your own acknowledged weakness sounds like something Shen would admire. Overall, it's a combination of Shen's good heart not wanting Andy and Fuko to die, and his quest for strength, saving Andy to ultimately fight Victor, that led him to making this decision. Meaning that at this point in the story, he is still ruled by his selfish desire for revenge, even if his good heart can be seen underneath. And the reason he ended up like this is of course the result of his backstory. Shen grew up in poverty with his little sister Mei. He fought adults and ran their pockets, all for the sake of keeping his sister clothed and fed. Shen's reason to become so strong was in service of protecting the most important person to him, his sister. And so in hopes of earning the prize money and further helping his sister, he entered a martial arts tournament and of course despite his strength, was defeated because he lacked finesse. Still, it was enough to draw the attention of Feng, who took him in and trained him under the condition he'd also take in and look after Mei as well. Because once again, Shen's main reason to live, to become strong, was to protect his sister. And to this end, he taught her how to defend herself in a fight, revealing she was even more talented than him. Feng, of course, being Feng, pitted them against one another, leading to him dropping Mei, but Shen, who only lived to protect his sister, wouldn't let that happen, grabbing hold of her hand, all until he became Untruth and killed her with his own ability. And after that he became more and more like Feng, only seeing people as weak and strong. After the death of Mei, Shen's motive changed. Before he wanted to become the strongest in all creation to firstly protect his sister, and secondly to surpass Feng, paying him back for helping his sister, but now he wanted to become the strongest in order to surpass Feng and kill him. And it showed in his actions, all until he met Mui and her brother, and seeing his own past in them, he took them in and was changed by them. Thanks to Mui, he was able to change. But even if Mui helped bring Shen back from the dark side, his hatred for Feng still remained. And so in the present during the summer arc, we get to see this quest for revenge be brought to its conclusion, as it is here when Shen comes face to face with his master for the first time since the death of his sister. And so of course, they fight. Now Shen and Feng objectively are quite similar. Both seek the same goal of becoming the strongest and both want to fight their opponents after they've grown to full strength. Be it by Shen allowing Victor to be unleashed just to fight him, or Feng wanting to kill Mui to replicate the death of Mei and trigger greater growth in Shen. However, as Shen says, Feng raises the strong and kills them just to test his strength, and so even if it costs him his life, he will negate Feng's strength. Because unlike Feng, Shen will not do anything in pursuit of strength. Throwing everything aside may seem like the path towards strength, but it isn't. Feng calls both Shen and Andy cowards because they hold people dear to them. But it is through protecting these people that Andy and Shen grew even stronger. Sure, hatred brings power too, but not anywhere near as close to as love. Also quickly to note, Feng said that Shen got stronger after the death of his parents, which again is a misconception, as Shen didn't get stronger because his parents died, he got stronger because he now had to protect his sister. Shen, by throwing away his revenge and giving up his life to save Mui, allowed himself to grow even stronger after death. It was his willingness to put Mui's life over his own that made him so strong. In the same way, Andy gained strength in order to protect Fuko again and again. And another big difference between Shen and Feng is that Feng does things alone. Even when he fights with others, it is only as tools for him, using the bodies of those he killed as pawns or shields, whereas Feng instead fights alongside allies, best shown when he fights alongside Andy against Feng. He tried to do it alone, saying the most important thing to him is killing Feng and getting revenge, but he is corrected by Andy, the one he saved and let join the Union. Andy tells him, "It's protecting Mui, isn't it? Because getting revenge won't bring back what's already gone, but protecting what you still cherish will stop them from going away too. And so with all of them together, they can protect anything. As teamwork makes the dream work." Before, Shen's world was only him, his sister and her killer, all until Mui came along and expanded that little world of his up. Mui saved him, and then Andy and Fuko came along to get him over the finish line. He originally let them join the Union, even led his teammates to their deaths, because of his desire to fight Victor and grow stronger through their fight, all in order to surpass and defeat Feng. It was a selfish whim, but even if that was his intention, that selfish whim led to two good people being saved, and led to him being saved in turn. If Andy and Fuko weren't there, if he'd never met them and been affected by them, Mui would have died and he may well have got his revenge, but would have been left empty as a result. Feng would have raised those two up and killed them, but Shen didn't do that, because he is fundamentally different from Feng, and instead learned from the two and with their help grew even stronger. Strong enough to not just take revenge, but instead to protect what he cared for, the person he cared for, with all his heart. And even that act of him giving up his life to save Mui wasn't done alone. He had Andy alongside him, because together they are the strongest. As Shen sat dying with a hole through his chest, he explained to Mui the activation requirements of his power, that it only works on those he is fond of, and then even more crucially, tells her she is the reason he discovered that, because she was the first person he came to like without strong or weak being a factor. It's at this moment he completely threw away the lie he was telling himself, that all he lived for was getting stronger or getting revenge. He finally saw his own truth. What his power really is for, what it's always been for, is protecting those he is fond of. That's the truth of strength. By sacrificing himself to save Mui and coming back, he became the strongest he'd ever been, spitting in the face of Feng's idea that one is strongest after witnessing the loss of a loved one. No, it comes from protecting one instead. And that's why, as Shen says, Feng may be the strongest, but that is all he is. Because he doesn't have love. That is the simple truth of the matter. Shen gets his revenge and defeats Feng, but not alone. He and Mui do it together, as their love for one another is stronger than any individual strength. Still, as he goes down, Feng takes solace in the idea that they needed to team up to beat him. All he has after all is individual strength, so he will stick to it till the very end, telling them that they will be unable to become any stronger in face of stronger foes. But as if to stick it right up Feng's arse, the Union, working not as individuals, but as a team, go on to defeat Phase 2 Summer, an opponent Feng said they'd have no chance of defeating, with Andy spelling out the simple truth that people are at their friggin' strongest when they put their lives on the line for somebody else. And well, deep down even Feng knew this, though without untruth he'd never admit it, because Shen and Mei did mean something to him. They were his family. But he was too chained down by ideas of individual strength to ever admit it. It's the same as how Shen was changed by Mui and her brother, because he and Feng weren't all that different, it's just that one was strong enough to see the truth and the other was not. God damn, is the summer arc good, and honestly, beyond it, Shen doesn't really do a whole lot more in the story, at least nothing significant to his character arc. So now we've discussed all this, it's looping time. As in Loop 101, we see a very different Shen, one saved from his tragedy and with a much different reason for pursuing strength. In Loop 101, Feng took Shen in not because of any high hopes for him as a potential rival, but instead because Fuko, his actual biggest rival, kinda told him to. And so Shen grew up under Feng, much like in Loop 100, but instead of becoming strong to protect his sister, he now did so for the girl he loves. And although yes, Feng in the last loop did see Shen and Mei as family, it's much more obvious in this loop. and so Shen isn't fighting to either pay back a debt or get revenge. In fact, his reason for fighting his surrogate father has nothing to do with Feng. Feng is just an obstacle in his way, a goalpost to reach and surpass. And as Void alludes to when he asks Shen if his pride or true goal is more important, Shen, much like in the last loop, has a reason. And the reason Shen sought strength and aimed to win the tournament in this loop was because of his love for Mui. Both to win the medicine for her brother for her, a sign of his compassion, but also due to his desire to grow stronger and surpass her. The point being, he is fighting for both someone else and himself. He already had learned the lesson and the truth of strength he came to gain in loop 100. Strength, you see, means different things to different people. Shen became strong because Feng wanted him to, but he himself never saw what that had to do with him. All until he met Mui, and hearing her store got robbed often, taught her martial arts. Something he could only do because he was strong. Which, you know, is yet another example of the rule of soul being so integral to the entire series. But more importantly, showed Shen what he desired was to help others. That helping others made him grateful for his strength. And so he now wishes to become stronger in order to, in turn, help others. Once again, the perfect blend of becoming strong for both yourself and others. Shen saw becoming stronger as a way to better protect Mei, as a way to help Mui, and knew that he'd never be in danger because he had the strongest man in the world, his master, looking out for him. He came to fulfill the criteria of what Foucault described as the strongest. Those who care for others with an unwavering heart are the strongest people around. And as a testament to these words, as Shen crossed fists with Mui in the semi-finals, he grew stronger by the minute, as he saw the truth of it. Something which in turn led to the manifestation of untruth, almost killing Mui. But he had nothing to fear, because he said it himself. He had the strongest guy around looking after him. And Feng, finally coming to understand strength himself, used his own to save Shen, to protect the person he probably cared for most in the entire world. Of course, there's way more to Feng's character arc in this too, but I'll save the details for the Feng video and move straight on to the finals, where Shen and Feng, pupil and master, son and father, fight it out to discover the true strongest. And well, the pupil surpassed the master, and the reason for his victory came from, of course, love. Shen, after all, can only use his power on the people he is fond of, and even if Feng was a little slow on the uptake, a son is generally pretty fond of their dad. And if you want to support this channel even further, then perhaps pledge to my Patreon, or consider becoming a channel member, so you can get your name at the end of the video, like Hikari Desu, Rinjak9696, Mr. Sputum, and Matthias Rowett. So with all that said and done, I have been SephTheSin, the deadly sin of geek, and I am signing out. Stay safe, everyone.